Well, I'm delighted to have with me here Damian, who's taking over control of the Positive Action Group. I must admit, I was thinking the other day I hadn't heard much about this wonderful organisation because, if nothing else, it gets the minds together. It used to be, I think once a month, whatever, but there was some good subjects covered, and there's definitely a place for that in the Isle of Man. Now, obviously, I think a few illnesses and retirements and that sort of thing, and you decided to step into the chair.
Well, that's right. I've been having a conversation with Roger Tomlinson, who's the immediate past chair of the Positive Action Group for a couple of years now, when he reached out for people to volunteer and step up. And I've been a supporter of the Positive Action Group for many years. I mean, basically it's been around for approximately 20 years, and it has campaigned very strongly for reform in relation to the governance of the Isle of Man. And I was delighted that Roger was prepared to propose me and take things forward, because it's been dormant for a couple of years. But there is a real need for the island to have the continuity of PAG, to whom we owe a great deal. And I must say, I want to take this opportunity to thank Roger Tomlinson publicly, because he has done an enormous amount of work for the island, and also Muriel Garland, who is our secretary, and of course her late husband Jeff Garland, who worked tirelessly for reform of the Isle of Man's governance. But in terms of where we're at, I have identified for some time that just as the original PAG founders have, that we need a public forum that relates to clear, defined goals in terms of the changes that we want to see, and that public forum is an opportunity for everybody, wherever you are on the political spectrum, to make your contribution and your voice heard.
This is where people who have a real feeling for some subjects can get there and try and persuade other people, almost to join them on that subject, or at least have a debate, an adult debate about a subject.
I think that's absolutely right. I think that's right, an adult debate, because so often I've identified some excellent contributions on Facebook and social media, but they often get drowned out by a lot of the noise. There's often more, as I would like to put it, there's often more heat than light in social media discussions. But that shouldn't cause us to look away from the excellent contributions. But I feel that there is a gap in the market, so to speak, of a regular meeting schedule. We're looking at organising about 4 a year, whether it's going to be a panel debate or a keynote speaker, where we can talk to key issues of public interest. So we're not, I've got to make it absolutely clear to everybody, we're not affiliated to any political party, but the political parties are of course very welcome to come and join us and contribute. And we're not affiliated to any corporation or government department or anything like that. So people should, whoever they are, whether they're in the government or they belong to the civil service, or they're just citizens of the Isle of Man, of whatever colour, complexion, creed, they can come along and make their voice heard.
It appears, and I've done various interviews over whatever, that the Isle of Man's never been quite in the best place recently. There's a feeling that things need to change. Are you going to be a forum for that as well, to hear people's ideas and reasons?
Absolutely, and we want to give people a space, a safe space, where they can express their views and express their dissatisfaction. There is a feeling that there's a disconnect. There's an enormous amount of noise on social media. As I say, there are some excellent contributions, but it's almost as if nobody's joining the dots somehow. And so we hope that this complements the ongoing political narrative, and is a real force for change, positive change. We're not a hostile forum. We don't want our meetings to be be seen as sort of unduly anti or pro, but obviously if there's something good to be said about current policy and what we need to harness, then that should come through. There's got to be a sense in which people should feel there is a positive agenda, and there were always three key bedrock principles to PAG going back 20 years, and that was for transparent and open government, that was for rigorous control of government expenditure, and that of course is a principle that will doubtless resonate amongst the general public, I'm sure, particularly with concerns around major capital spending projects such as the Liverpool landing stage or the still to be finished promenade redevelopment project, and these core principles are absolutely essential, and of course a fairer society for all. That's the third principle, and that's really important at a time when we hear about food banks, we hear about inequality, people unable to get on the housing ladder, and I could go on, and the elderly suffering and so forth.
Well, you've got your first one ready to go.
Yes.
That's why we're giving this about a week before the event to publicise it.
Yes,
so what's the subject?
Okay, so we are having a panel debate, the title of which is the Isle of Man economy working for you?
Oh,
so
well, that's a big subject to start with.
It is a big subject.
Have you got a panel together yet, or is it still working on it?
We have three confirmed panel speakers. We've got John Webster, who's the former government economist,
Nice.
and obviously he's got a lot of experience both in terms of government and the private sector. We've got Sarah Comish, who's the secretary to the Farmers Union on the island, obviously a very important sector of the economy, and obviously we're interested in hearing her views and her perspectives on behalf of the people that she represents. And thirdly, we've got Carl Jochen of the Licensed Victuallers Association, and clearly hospitality and catering has come under the spotlight recently with concerns about businesses being unable to manage with the rising costs. And so it's very important that we hear from those areas. We are looking for a fourth speaker, and that is yet we've invited someone, and we're waiting to hear back from them.
You still got a website, so that would be the best place for it, or to find out what's going on, or Facebook or something?
Okay, our website is currently under construction, so that's not the way forward.
How are you going to get the message out there then?
Okay, so Facebook, we have an active Facebook page, so we will be advertising in that respect. We will also be doing a formal media release.
Fine. Do people need to be part of PAG to go along to this meeting? And if they want to join and all those sort of things?
No, we're reviewing our sort of, shall we say, constitutional arrangements. We've not, for some years now, had a sort of formalised membership arrangement. We will look at that going forward, but no, there is no required membership arrangement whatsoever. Effectively, at the moment, we've got a group of like-minded people who formed a committee that's a continuation of the past, and we're looking at our principles, at our aims and objectives, because many of those, again, I've mentioned those key people, with Roger and other members of his team that campaign so hard for things like, the Freedom of Information Act and other reforms such as the institution and establishment of an ombudsman. And those really are things that I think the public can look to PAG and thank, because without this movement, without this collective push for change doesn't happen. Sure. But change, I think PAG is a demonstration of how collectively we can make a difference.
Okay, well, the date of the meeting and the place?
Sure. It's the 30th of September, it's 7:30 at the Legion Hall, Market Hill.
So the usual place as before?
Indeed.
And, I mean, in the past, there was contributions made, because sometimes there are speakers from across, and there's costs involved in these things. Are you hoping to go down that route, eventually be able to bring people in?
Yes, absolutely. We will be looking for keynote speakers. We have some irons in the fire at the moment, and at our meetings we always shake the bucket and look for contributions to further the aims of PAG.
And if people have got a burning idea for a subject?
Absolutely, yes. Please reach out, make contact via our Facebook page, and we will take it on board. And I think the other thing too is I want to appeal to younger members of our community. It's very easy for sort of middle-aged men like me to sort of be seen to be promoting these things, and that might put some people off. But we are actively looking for younger people, students perhaps, because of course people can vote from the age of 16 on the Isle of Man, and it's very important that we get younger people's perspective. So if anybody wants to volunteer, we're making a list of volunteers who can help out at meetings and in other ways going forward.
And the clues in your title, positive action, doing things for, not just moaning about it, but actually debating it and maybe getting some changes made.
Yeah, and making sure that people are encouraged, because it is about taking action. Nothing would have happened like we've seen in the last 20 years, but for the pressure brought to bear by the meetings, by Roger and his team, and going forward, we want to be part of a positive agenda that is seeking to assist and promote the island, basically.